Welcome to Quick Hits. I'm your host, Shannon Smith, aka Podcast Smitty, and I am a fan of sport. I'm also a fan of collaboration, coming together, and forming a great team, which is what we do here on Boom Broadcasting. So go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go through the plethora of podcasts that we have in the field of TV and movies, sports, and sports entertainment. We have live and solo podcasts on your favorite sports, on your favorite shows, on your streaming apps. We have a lot of entertaining things ready for you waiting on the YouTube channel and on the socials. See us on Facebook, see us on TikTok, see us on Instagram and on X. Make sure that you follow along with the discussions and get into the conversation. Now, today's show is going to be on the Winter Olympics. We're going to revisit, we're going to go back and recap on some of our favorite moments and some of our great performances that have been put on by these athletes from around the world. And usually, Quick Hits is a one-man show, but I can't do it alone this time. A lot of sports out there. I cannot do it alone, so I got a little help. Second time in a row, a second Friday, I have done a show by myself. Kind of weird, but that's okay because with me, I have the host of Boom Broadcasting's one, first, and only baseball-centric podcast. He's a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, as you can see, and he has all right in the world, 2 straight World Series. Kind of hard to beat that, but he's been working around the clock from preseason to regular season to playoffs to the World Series and right back again. He's going to be ready for the World Baseball Classic as well, too. So he's going to get it done. He's our Tim Kirchkin. He's our Buster Olney. He's our Peter Gammons here on Boom Broadcasting. I'm talking about Chris DeLuca. So, Chris, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. Fantastic intro there, Shannon. That was honestly overstating my baseball knowledge and all that. But yeah, I'm excited here to be back on Quick Hits. It's been a while here. It's probably been a good 3 to 4 months since I've been on. I think last time we were here might have been almost a year ago. I think we were talking like Masters coverage or something like that. So I'm happy to be back here, and I'm happy to be talking about the Olympics here, going into that as we just wrapped up in Milan Cortina here in 2026 in Italy, as we look forward as well to the French Alps in 2030. We look forward to LA in 2028, but we will be talking about all the events here in Milan here over the past 2.5 weeks or so in the month of February. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. But hey, the pleasure's all mine, man. I'm glad that we were able to get this done. Now, for you, just to let you know, this show is a mashup, meaning that we're taking both of our shows and we're putting it together for one show. So we're going to be pulling segments from our shows and putting it together to talk about the Winter Olympics. And we'll start with a segment of mine that I've been starting to do, been playing around with some segments on the show. Usually my icebreaker, my beginning segment is we get into a little bit of shenanigans. So we're going to start off with some shenanigans here. I'll go ahead and go with mine first. Now, being the elder statesman here on Boom Broadcasting, of course, I'm one of the older members of our group. I'll try to put some parting wisdom to our younger audience that might be there. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you guys a little bit of lesson. If you're running from the law, for the love of God, do not go to a grand stage like the Winter Olympics. A man from Slovakia, they didn't even say his name. This man has been on the run from the Italian law for 16 years. And he decided he was going to go watch his native country play hockey, play in the very first game of group play. It was Slovakia versus Finland. They won. Slovakia won. But this poor guy, he didn't win because they tracked him in a guest house outside of Milan. He was going in to go watch the game. They put cuffs on him. They arrest him. They throw him in prison. He has to serve under 12 months in a prison. Didn't get to support his country. He's supporting them from, a prison cell, watching the game on the TV in prison. Good luck with that. I worked in the prison system for 10 years. It's kind of tough watching TV in there. Yo, Chris, here's my thing, man. Did he like forget that he was on the run? Did he like get complacent? What you think, man?
I mean, I'll firstly, I'm not real. I don't know what he did, so I'm gonna be a little bit careful on like any statements or comments I make relating to those kind of jokes. I'm not aware of what he did, but anyway, regardless, we don't like anyone who breaks the law. But yeah, I have no idea what his logic would have been. I mean, I guess since it was, you said like 16 years, he just thought that at this point it would have been okay. I don't know how like with like statutes of limitations, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, not probably the smartest move to go to a very public area, especially you're crossing borders. Though, I mean, I do believe Slovakia is in the EU. I know Italy is. So border crossings there are a lot easier. That is one thing I am aware of from my European travels. Like I said, I believe Slovakia is in the EU, so it's a little bit easier as opposed to in the US and to Canada and Mexico, et cetera. You have to go through customs. It's a lot more complicated, but still, you have to show some form, usually of documentation. A lot of it's like random selection too, as well. So you'd think that he would want to at least stay within his um, own country, and then going back to a country that he's wanted in is even more of a bad idea. So I'm not really sure. I just don't think he was really thinking, and yeah, he didn't even get to make it into the game. So that's unfortunate for him. But I can imagine how hard it is to watch TV going on based on those circumstances.
But what he did, and oh yeah, I forgot to add that in there. He was a burglar. He stole
Mm.
from like he had a ring of robberies in Italy, and Italy is the host country of the Olympics. Why go back to the place that you stole from?
Mm.
So that's what he done. I meant to add that in there, but he's been on the run since 2010. They caught the guy. He's in prison now. So sorry about that there, buddy. So hey, that's my shenanigans there. So Chris, it looks like you got a little bit of shenanigans. So go ahead and let us know.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not really sure if I would call this shenanigans. I more just want to take this as an opportunity to shout out the Liechtenstein Bobsledding Team, who made their four-man debut here in 2026. And it's a very specific reason, as I just kind of go into a little mini story here. So I work overnight shifts with my job, and during that time, I had a lot of opportunity to, be able to watch stuff when I was, on breaks or something like that. And between the first and second run of the Liechtenstein Bobsledding Team, I commented on their post. They basically post like great first run of the four man, and comment on their post saying great first run. And in between that, not only did the Liechtenstein bobsledding account like that comment, the pilot of the Liechtenstein bobsledding team, Martin Kranz, liked my comment as well. So there, while competing in the Olympics, he looked at his phone and liked my comment between the first and second run, which I really thought was awesome. Just kind of comparing, how social media and the internet, despite all the downsides that it does have, kind of creates these very interesting moments of being able to like very small connection, being able to, have a very, small connection with someone who's competing in another continent on the world's grandest stage, and, other people around the world just being able to communicate. And, it's just, I just thought it was really cool. So they were only, I want to say they're less than a second short of making it to the fourth heat, which was really unfortunate, but we hope to see them back in France, in the French Alps in 2030. We hope they can qualify for the four-man, make their second four-man run. But shout out to Liechtenstein bobsledding team, as that was a really fun opportunity to be able to, get a, interesting piece of, or great piece of recognition from them.
Hey, that is awesome. So hey, it counts as shenanigans to me. We did the little icebreaker, get everybody involved. As we get everyone in here that is ready to watch the show. But cool story there. So, Chris, across the seas, across the ponds, making friends, that's awesome. I understand, with it being night shift and, the time change, it's morning for them, but it's night for us. And so you get to watch all that cool stuff. Hey, I like that a lot. But before we get into everything, so my question, what are some of the events that you found yourself watching like tremendously throughout the Olympics? As we speak, what was some of your favorite events?
So I'm a fan of the sliding sports. I've been actually still rewatching them. I've been utilizing Peacock to be able to rewatch them. The skeleton and the luge were
Nice.
the early ones because there's a lot that goes into maintaining that track and all that. I'm sure I know they use this slush kind of stuff to refreeze, especially, like, God forbid, when there is an accident, like in the 4-man, that same day that I was referring to earlier, we had Austria have a major accident. So everyone as of right now is seemingly stable, okay, and France as well, Trinidad and Tobago. But anyway, that the restoration there takes quite a while. So I want to just kind of shout out the rink crew there, ice crew. I'm not really sure the exact name of it. Shout them out. But yeah, all the sliding sports, a lot of people don't necessarily focus, I think, as much as they shouldn't, because it is insane, especially, I mean, all of them. You're going anywhere between 40 to almost 90 miles an hour. And then, the skeleton, they're going head first. The luge, they're going feet first. That is scary. One wrong move. And you got to think you're going as fast as faster actually than you would go on the interstate. Most of the interstates are like 70 miles an hour. These guys are going 80 miles an hour. So they're going faster than you're going on the interstate, and you're sitting on either a little sled, feet first, head first, or you're in a bobsled, which, that makes it go even faster. Because I remember the announcer saying that those bobsleds weigh, with the 4-man's weigh upwards of like 500-600 pounds, and it's over 1,400 pounds with all 4 people in it. So that is scary, especially when it's moving 80 miles an hour. So those people who do all the sliding sports, shout out to them. That is what I honestly like the most too. And yeah, so what about you? What was something that you really found interesting?
The sliding sports are really, really fun to watch, but you're right, they are very scary. But me, I'm kind of in the speed category as well. I love the speed skating. I had a lot of fun watching speed skating. I like the snowboarding. The big air is one of my favorites because I enjoyed watching the big air. The alpine skiing is really, really fun. I like those, and the sliding sports are great. Not gonna lie to you, man. Watched a little bit of ice dancing because when I was small, I saw our ice dancers. That was something that in the 90s, our Winter Olympics team had a lot of great ice dancers, a lot of great figure skaters. It was really, really cool. I watched that with my mom a little bit. She enjoyed that. But for the most part, like my downhill, my uphill sports, I don't think I'm ever gonna do them. I just like to watch them, live vicariously. So that's a great part of the Olympics. So once again, shout out to all the athletes that played very, very well, exceptionally some of the greatest athletes you'll ever see in the winter sports. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the show. The shenanigans are done. So we're going to go ahead and get into another segment that I use on Quick Hits. Golf clap, round of applause, standing ovation. What we usually do. But I'm going to change it around a little bit. We're going to go bronze medal, silver medal, gold medal. It's still the same premise. We're going to award our athletes, anything that's newsworthy with the Olympics. We're going to talk about that. Bronze is good. Silver is great. Gold is exceptional. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Chris, and he'll go ahead and give us our bronze medal newsworthy performance. So go ahead.
Okay, so one thing I do want to note here too is, like, I do know that it is, good, great, and excellent, but also all of these are equally amazing. It was just mainly the order of what I put these in. So my bronze medal golf clap here is Brazil's Lucas Breton, became the first Latin American to win gold at the Winter Olympic Games. First Brazilian to win gold in alpine skiing. He also did the Grand Slalom, fantastic performance by him. And it's really interesting to see. That is one reason I actually do like the Winter Olympics a lot as well, is because you see these non-traditional countries. I mean, obviously the most famous one, Jamaican bobsledding team. There's a whole movie about them. Trinidad and Tobago bobsledding, countries like that you don't traditionally see in the Winter Olympics being represented there. And it is very interesting. So it is nice to see someone from a non-traditional country win a gold medal, first Brazilian gold medal as well at the Winter Olympics. So that is my bronze medal performance.
Definitely. I like that one as well, too. I was able to watch, and first tropical country, anyone from South America, period, to win a medal. He went gold. He exceeded expectations. That is incredible. I love that. So I love the story. I love watching it. I got a chance to watch it, got a chance to see it. I'm going to run it back one more time because I like some giant slalom. That was really, really fun to watch. Very daring. Like it's daring. That slalom, whoo, that drop, insane. But my bronze, I'm going to keep it inside of the country here. Corey Dropkin and Corey Tisi winning the U.S. first curling medal. They won a silver medal in the mixed doubles competition. I thought that was really cool that the U.S. has never won a curling medal in the Olympics ever. And that's the very first one in the mixed double. And it was really cool. Both their names are Corey, which is really, really cool. So I called them Team Corey. It was fun to see that. Very, very good. That is the bronze. But before we go on to the silver medal, this thing with Canada and the Swiss about the cheating aspects, the cheating, they were looking at each other. It got brutal at one point in time. They was arguing with each other. That was insane. Your thoughts on that right there, Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like that is kind of a similar conflict to the land dispute between the Danish and Canadians. But it is very interesting to see. I haven't fully read into that, but I mean, two peaceful kind of nations there. Yeah, a double touch can definitely be controversial. But like I said, it kind of reminds me of this land dispute that Canada and Denmark had, where they would leave a maple syrup and a Canadian flag, and then different whiskeys and stuff like that. So very more. I mean, a heated rivalry there on at that time. But I think overall, two countries that are going to get along okay in the long run.
Nope. Yeah, man, we're going to find out who is going to really be in 2030 if we're still talking about that when we go to the French Alps. So now, since we got the little bit of curling debate there finished, we're going to go on to the silver medal performance here. So Chris, go ahead and give us your silver.
Yeah, so my silver medal performance here is the German bobsledding in general, because they won 8 of the 12 total bobsledding medals. They got gold in 4-man, gold in 2-man, gold in 2 women. And then 8 out of 12. The only gold not going to Germany is the U.S. Women's monobob. That is it. So interesting fact about that is there are only about 15 to 17 sliding centers in the world, and Germany has a majority of them. So that's why I think that's my theory of why you see a lot of their dominance. There's some in Switzerland, some in Austria, but Germany, last Olympics as well, sweeping the board. This year, almost sweeping the board as well. In 4-man, they would have gotten all 3 gold, silver, and bronze, but Switzerland just getting in the nick of time to get that bronze medal to drop that 3rd German team to 4th place out of medal contention. So that's my silver medal performance.
That I didn't know. That is cool, man. I mean, Germany basically owning it when it comes down to the bobsleds. So they've got all the training centers. They got a monopoly on that, it seems. So you got to go through Germany in order to beat them. 8 medals. That is something to behold as a team. So that was really, really big. So my silver medal performance, my round of applause has got to go to our fellow countryman, Jordan Stalls. I was watching a lot of the speed skate. My man is 21 years old, breaks 2 world records in the 500 and the 1,000 meter speed skate. I was watching the 1,000 meter. He was going fast. He hit that turn, hit that straightaway. To me, it feels like watching sprinting or watching the running events, the track events in the Summer Olympics. So I look forward to the speed skate. My man being 21 years old, breaking records. He's an incredible speed skater, been a world champion. He won in 2004. Incredible story of this young man, a young prodigy, and what he does. I look forward to seeing more of what he's got in store. One of the most highly decorated Olympians when it comes down to the speed skate in the USA. Gotta give love to the young man, Jordan Stalls. And standing, let's go ahead and talk about that, our gold medal performance. Chris, so go ahead.
Yeah, so mine, of course, is one of the most covered gold medals that we had this entire Olympic Games here in the United States and across the world. Alyssa Liu winning the first gold medal for U.S. figure skating and free skate in 24 years. First gold medals is Nathan Chen back in 2022, of course, most recent one, but still, she did a fantastic job. Just and the major shout out I want to make with her too is that she's just having fun. She's talked about, pointing out how the effects it has on your mental health, effects on your physical health, and all that. And she's really been very open about talking about that. Her and Amber Glenn have been very open about that. So I just want to give a shout out to both of them, but especially Alyssa Liu. They're winning that gold medal is fantastic. Figure skating, man, is just such an amazing sport because, ballet as an art is incredible. And they're doing this on ice. They're doing this an insane regimen, and they're starting, practicing this when they're 2-3 years old. They start doing this, and they work their entire life to this, and every athlete does, but especially figure skaters, man, that is insane, because if you are off by a quarter of an inch, you lose your entire score. So shout out to her. Shout out to all the figure skaters who competed in the 2026 Olympic Games.
Man, I'm glad that you brought that up because ice dancing, figure skating, that is a staple. That was a staple in the 90s for the U.S., especially for the women. Incredible sport, a lot of grace, a lot of patience, balance. You're absolutely right on that. Great athleticism. Anybody who says that is not, and you're not an athlete if you're a figure skater, I don't want to
get out of here.
Forget about it.
Get out of here.
As a fan of sport, I will watch that any day of the week because of how great it is when you watch it in person. It's even cooler. So shout out to those who can ice skate. We'll be getting into a different type of ice skating very much later. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my gold medal performance. I'm kind of cheating on this one. I'm not going to lie to you, but this is half of the show of mine. But my standing note goes to Team USA. 12 gold medals as a team, most golds in the history of the country. They broke the record. That was 10, held in, I believe it was the 2010 games. Look me up on that. I might be wrong. I think it's the 2010 games where there were 10 gold medals that was won at those Olympic Games. Ended up getting 12. So congrats, Team USA. Congrats, Old Glory, and all the athletes out there. It was an awesome 2 weeks of sports. You got Peacock, run that back. I'm running it back as we speak. I got some slalom on right now as we're recording. So I had to get into the spirit a little bit, even though we've been away from the games a little bit. So I got to watch it some. But now we're getting out of all of my segments, and then we're going to go to the Dugout Debrief segments, because if you haven't watched Chris's show, I don't know what to tell you, because great baseball knowledge keeps you up to date on all of the free agency in all of baseball. Then when the season begins, now he's on deck right now. He's on deck. He's warming up as we speak. He's in that bullpen right now. I know that the Olympics is going on, but spring training about to begin. Pitchers and catchers are doing their thing right now. We're getting ready for some baseball. It's about to be time. We're going to see if the Dodgers can repeat as world champions. I hope they don't, because I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. Chris has been talking a little bit of trash about my Atlanta Braves, but rightfully so, because they got to pick it up. Get some pitching, fellas. Get some pitching, because that's what Atlanta's known for. It's the pitching.
They re-signed Chris Sale today, so
and I'm glad for that. That's a start. But Chris Sale, he's getting a little older. We need some young pitching. We got some good hitting. But also, too, I'm hoping that Major League Baseball gets it right and talks about the Sal Cap. Because I'm telling you what, I don't want to say that 5-letter S word. I don't want to say it, because I hope it doesn't happen. I got to watch my baseball. Some of the purest sport is the Major League Baseball playoffs. Great playoffs last year. Incredible playoffs. I want to see more of it, but don't worry about it. Chris has got you covered in the Dugout Debrief every Thursday, 12 p.m. Boom Broadcasting. Watch it. Make sure you do. And we're going to go into one of his segments, because he ends the show with the trivia question. So let's see if Chris knows my trivia question, because it's going to lead into the series of the week, which is another one of Chris's segments that he uses on his show. So, Chris, are you ready for your question?
Here's hoping. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Who is the only broadcaster to call all four major American sports pro championships on network television?
So that's an interesting one, because my first inclination is Al Michaels, because I know he's done a Super Bowl. He has done hockey. I know he did the Miracle on Ice call, but I believe when that was NBC, that was mostly Doc Emmerich. And then I don't know if he's done baseball. Let's see, Al Michaels. Kenny, I'll just say Al Michaels. It's probably wrong. I have a second guess, but I'll lock on Al.
Chris, one thing I want you to know is that whenever you take a test in life, trust your guts. That is correct.
There we go.
Al Michaels is the only one. He did it on network television. Now, of course, that's controversial because he may not have been the first, but he is recognized as doing it on network television. He did 6+ Super Bowls. He did 8 World Series. He was the one that was calling the game when the earthquake hit in Game 3, 1989. He was on that call. He's called 3 Stanley Cup Finals, 2 NBA Finals, and like you said, he made one of the greatest calls in all of sports. Do you believe in miracles? I get chills when I hear that. 1980 Lake Placid. And of course, that was 46 years ago. And 46 years ago, Sunday, a 46-year curse has been lifted as our men's hockey team was able to capture the gold medal in probably one of the greatest games in all of the Olympics, greatest hockey games of all time, 2-1 against Canada, winning that game a couple days prior. The women's team in overtime, shocking fashion, 2-1 win, same score, same team for the gold medal, first time ever in Olympic history that the U.S. has won both men's and women's gold medals in hockey, which is leading to our series of the week, which is these 2 games. That was just our series of the week. We're going to go ahead and start with the first game, the women's team. We're going to go ladies first. The women's team, 2-1, big win against Canada. Now, our women's team has been incredible. Of course, Captain Hillary handling biz, most points by any woman in Olympic hockey and most goals by any woman in Olympic hockey. Incredible game by the women's team, winning 2-1 in overtime. Their group play, they dominated group play 6-1-0. Handled biz in group play. But your thoughts there with Hillary Knight's game-tying goal, Amanda Keller getting the win. Give me your thoughts on that game right there, Chris.
Just an amazing game overall. I mean, being able to see an overtime winner in general is just amazing. And I first want to give kind of my, I guess I won't really say it's a shout out, but just a hopefulness that the PWHL gets more recognition from this. Women's sports in general is something that I really hope continues to progress and get more viewership, more funding. Of course, I know you often talk about the WNBA, so I just really hope that a moment like this, the entire country is watching, can go bring more attention to women's sports as a whole, hockey and everything else. But shout out to Megan Keller there on that game winner, and just amazing. I'm happy I had the opportunity to watch it. It's just, U.S. and Canada has been a rivalry in everything, whether if it's hockey, baseball, basketball, football, a little bit, American football, not really so much, but being able to, be able to be there and just continue the story of rivalry is really awesome. Another fantastic game. Shout out to the U.S. women's hockey team just in general. Fantastic performance.
Oh, definitely. This is the third gold medal for the women's team. They won the gold medal in 1998, won in 2018, and of course this year in 2026. Great nod to the Professional Women's Hockey League. They will resume play on February 26th. They'll get back to it because the pro players were being used for the professional teams and for the national teams for the women, and of course for the men. The first time since 2014, the NHL decided to have their players play overseas for their respective countries, and the men had to do it once again, 2-1 against Canada in overtime. Big time game, of course, the golden goal with Jack Hughes, the picture of him biting the gold medal. He's got the chip tooth because he took that stick to the face. Incredible look for Jack Hughes. Had a little bit of injury trouble in the NHL season. He's had a little bit of trouble, throughout his career, but he got healthy enough inside of this season to represent our country. Old Glory getting the win. Now, the men's side is a little more heated because that Four Nations game last year, the best all-star game that was played. Big time fights, gloves dropping all over the place. They're just beating the tar out of each other, beat each other up. And of course, Canada got the last laugh in the Four Nations. And this time around, our guys got the last laugh in this game. So many things to unpack here. This now a rivalry now for men's hockey. It's now a rivalry because at first it was Canada handling biz. They have the Wonder Kid and Macklin Celebrini. They've got the man and Connor McDavid. Sid the Kids, or Sid the middle-aged man, might I say, did not play in this game. There was a lot of talk with that. Sidney Crosby feeling kind of rough. Connor McDavid on the bench after that goal that was scored in that game. But this is what sport is all about, the rivalry. It was big. Chris, go ahead and give me your thoughts on that.
So the first point I want to make is I want to first shout out my girlfriend for making this point. But how Connor McDavid is not in intensive therapy, I have no idea.
Yes,
Stanley Cups. I mean, especially I'm that last picture I'm getting handed the stuffed animal and the silver medal. The first comment she made is how this man is not in intensive therapy. I have no idea, and that is also my thoughts as well. Major shout out here for me is Connor Hellebuck, the guy from Michigan there. If not for him, to be completely honest, I think Canada would have won that game 5 or 6 to 1 or 2. It really would not have been even close. He is the main reason. I do know that Jack Hughes scored that game-winning goal, but Hellebuck, if not for him, it wouldn't even been. It would have been a blowout. So, shout out to him. Shout out to Team Canada. That was an insane matchup. I was, I was happy with regardless of who won there because it is a slugfest. That is what it is. And as we talked about with here in the women's segment too, that is a very intense rivalry between the U.S. and Canada. Two countries that border each other. Obviously, all the conversations in and out with that, but I'm just happy that it was an entertaining game.
Definitely, and you're right about Connor Hellebuck. Now, last year, winning the Vezina and winning the Hart Trophy, the first goalie in years to win it. Carey Price won it in 2015. There was a lot of talk about should a goalie get the Hart Trophy. The Vezina, of course, he was the best goalie, hands down, best goals against average. I didn't think they were going to give him the Vezina. I thought they were going to give the Vezina to Leon Draisaitl, who represented Team Germany. I thought they were going to give it to him because he had a great year in the absence of Connor McDavid last year. But they listened to the fans. The fans were saying Connor Hellebuck, he won the Vezina and the Hart Trophy. He was the best goalie in this tournament. 41 saves in this game, and he was making some of the craziest saves out there. some of the craziest blocker saves, made that stick save, that a camera shot of that of the puck going, and he grabbed that stick and he was able to block it. How he did that, I have no idea, especially with some of the great scores that Canada has. Canada in the attack zone, they were scary. They played very hellacious on the back check. The penalty kill was something that was a suspect thought for the United States team, especially with the way that the power play was playing with Canada. It was a scary thought, but I think all of us that was watching hockey around the world felt like it was going to be the U.S. and Canada on both sides. It was a classic game. Hats off to Canada, but yeah, Connor McDavid, my man's got a, he's came up short in 2 Stanley Cups, came up short for the gold medal with Canada. Connor McDavid is hands down an incredible hockey player, but he is just coming up short, and it is rough. But Team USA, the 2 gold medals that matter the most, all of them are great, incredible, but all eyes were on those games, and the U.S. delivered. Congratulations to all athletes, and of course, ours here at home in the U.S. Chris, any final thoughts before we cut it off here?
Hey, overall, I love the Olympics. I am so excited for 2028 and for 2030. It is one of those things that, you kind of get into this different mindset because you're watching it every single day. I, and so many people here on the Boom family, watching sports in general. And it's one of those things that's almost like 24/7 it's going on, depending on where in the world it is. So it's a great opportunity to give kudos to sports that people don't normally pay attention to. I mean, obviously hockey is a major sport in the Americas and in Europe, but, giving recognition to sports like you talked with curling, with bobsledding, a lot of the things you see featured in the X Games, like skiing and snowboarding, and it brings that onto the grand stage, and it gives us a reason to unite together, and it gives every country that's competing in the world to unite together, put differences aside, and it's just a really, really fun 2.5 weeks or so, and I am looking forward to LA 2028. And again, can't wait for it. It's a great moment, and I had a great time watching it.
It's going to be tough, going on the TV. I'm glad I got Peacock for the time being so I can go back and watch it. But while supplies last, I know it's going to be going just like the Summer Olympics was. I watched it. I binge watched it before it all left. When it happened, I'm going to do the same thing here. Going to get on to a little bit of big air. Going to probably watch a little bit more hockey, a little more figure skating before I hit the sack. But definitely thank you for watching the show, Chris. I had to talk a little baseball with you before you left, but go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so Dugout Debrief every Thursday at noon, like you said here. We're doing American League Central this week, and then next week we'll be talking American League West. Moving on to the National League, we'll be doing previews here. Major question right now at the Central, what are the Tigers going to do with Tarek Skubal? That is a big question. They re-signed Justin Verlander, went out, got Framber Valdez. We're going to be talking about the Tigers, kind of where they're positioned in this. The Royals, the American League Central is an interesting division. Moving on next week as well, talking about the Mariners, the Astros, kind of where we are right there. But WBC, World Baseball Classic, will be starting here on March 5th. We will be discussing that. It's going to be starting off at the Tokyo Dome, and I'm very excited to go and talk about that. So once again, I want to thank you for having me on the show. I've really enjoyed this opportunity.
Thank you very much. And once again, subscribe to the Boom Broadcasting YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Shannon Smith, and this is Quick Hits.